Welcome back to another instant reaction video. Calum's paid attention to this weekend's game against Celtic, so we're already off to a better start, even if it's a similar result, a 1-0 defeat.
Similar result, but at least our podcast couldn't get much worse than the last Celtic one, so it's fine.
Exactly, yeah. Small victories off the field rather than on it.
Exactly, that's what we'd rather anyway, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, looking at the starting lineup, we spoke in the preview show, which was very well received, with Colin, the Celtic fan there. Great to have an opinion from him. But we spoke on Calum Hendry, hoping he would start, give Canberra some support. Started on the bench.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, in fairness. I thought they would just stick with Hendry and maybe they'll try and build up some sort of partnership, but alas, no. I originally wasn't sort of against the idea of McGinn starting through the middle, as I think he doesn't have sort of the legs to play out wide as much anymore. And I mean, some of his crossings a bit temperamental as well, but I was sort of okay with it, even though I didn't even properly look at the team sheet beforehand. I was paying attention to the game, and then I realised when I was watching the game, I was like, okay, Calum Hendry's not playing. Took me a bit by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, McGinn's deliveries can be a bit suspect at times. Shout out to that free kick in the second half that barely made it off the ground.
I don't know what he was trying to do there. It was ridiculous.
To be fair, it was almost like a counterplay because it led to a brilliant cross that Andy Considine just was unlucky to get out of his feet. But it was just, after what we'd said about him, it was you just couldn't make that type of delivery up from him.
It's sort of, that was McGinn in a nutshell there, really, wasn't it? A dead ball situation, possibly the worst free kick you've seen in a very long time. And then he goes puts in a great ball in the box to create a chance on his left foot as well. So yeah,
Keith will be delighted you picked that out because that was the first thing he said, weaker foot there. We did start the game brightly, much brighter than our last trip to Parkhead. Andy Considine exploiting the rather dodgy at times Scott Bain with a header off the post, and then Ash Taylor, very unlucky, a bullet header that Scott Bain does brilliantly, in fairness to him, tipping over the bar. Do you think Ash should have scored though?
Possibly. I think it's one of those ones where get it on target and then sort of hope for the best, but then if it's a yard the other side, then it probably does score. But it's something we did highlight as well before in the last episode. From set pieces, they are hopeless at defending them. Lee Mayer liked mentioning it as well. He was very good on commentary, by the way. I'd just like to throw that in. Quite enjoyed him.
I didn't.
Did you not? I quite liked him. I quite liked him.
Just stick to Herbalife.
I think I enjoyed the fact he just accepted he could pronounce names and just didn't even try, which I thought was fair. But yeah, I think Taylor maybe should have done a bit better. And it's just so annoying because Scott Bain, in my mind, no matter whenever we play against him, he will just always be the man that he conceded 7 against us. From then on, he can never be a respectable goalkeeper in my head. But he pulled one out the top drawer, unfortunately, with Ash Taylor's there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was about as good as it got in the first half. And not so long after, Celtic got their goal in very fortunate circumstances. A huge deflection that totally wrong-foots Joe Lewis, who was going the way that the shot was. Maybe the shot from Edouard wasn't even going on target. And it just loops over and falls into the back of the net. And if that goal doesn't sum up our luck of so far in the recent months, but in general against Celtic, I don't know what does.
They always seem to get those sort of things going for them against us, especially. It's just very typical of our luck. I thought, to be honest, we didn't defend too badly, and that's sort of the one time, one of maybe a couple more, that Edouard had that sort of space, and he got a shot off, obviously, and Lewis just didn't really stand a chance with it as soon as that deflection came. Very, very unfortunate. Very, very Aberdeen.
Yeah, luck of the Irish, I suppose you might say.
Perhaps.
But other than that, I didn't really feel Celtic caused us too many problems throughout the 90 minutes. The only real chance of note that they probably feel they should have scored from was towards the end, Callum McGregor blasting wide when open inside the box, and then Odsonne Edouard being very greedy right at the death when he should have really fed one of Soro or Elyounoussi. But good defending from Tommy Hoban there, not to commit himself, stood up and forced Edward into the mistake. But largely, from a Joe Lewis point of view, a quiet afternoon.
I thought we looked pretty good defensively. I think Lewis had a pretty decent save in the first half where he tipped it around the post. Maybe it was from Turnbull, I want to say. But unfortunately for us, we didn't really create much either going forward, basically other than from set pieces, which it's not very inspiring. I don't actually think we've played too badly as a whole, which I know you're going to comment on. It's just frustrating again that it's very Aberdeen that they've been so bad at defending set pieces and even we can't score from one.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a point I want to come on to because I think it's going to divide opinion based on the game. Obviously, you could argue football's a results-based business. We've not won again against Celtic. Can we take positives from the performance? But we'll come to it. Certainly in the first half, though, after we went 1-0 down, I think we just gave Celtic far too much respect again. It was just, we didn't really see much more of an attacking return from us.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I can also kind of see why we sort of went a little bit more safe, didn't want to be too expansive, because then I suppose if a second goal comes so quickly after that early first one, then it's curtains essentially. So I suppose try to stay in it until half time and use sort of set pieces to their advantage. It is, I suppose, frustrating, but it is understandable. And that's not like me to be understanding.
No, it's not. Very, very understanding of you, because William Miller on the radio certainly wasn't. We've been alerted to comments from William Miller saying that he was quite damning of McInnes's tactics once again, that he hadn't learned from the previous trip to Parkhead, saying that we sat off Celtic, showed them too much respect, we should have kind of got at Celtic. But it's actually a good point you make, Calum. And I suppose it's something that people are a bit naive to, possibly, that if we do go gung-ho, we do just risk being picked off at will by Celtic on the counter-attack.
Sorry, it's not like me to make a good point, is it? But I think that's the problem with that goal coming so early. It's so fortunate from them, and then we do kind of have to rein it in a little bit. Can't be so expansive, just in case we do get hit with this sucker punch, because it's not like you don't want Odds and Edward to really get a chance to just tie things up 2-0, and then we're probably out of it at that stage inside the first half. No,
absolutely. And one thing that I think Lee Mayer picked up on in the first half was kind of Scott Brown controlling the tempo of the midfield. Colin said in the preview episode he expected Scott Brown to play again today. He did. He controlled the midfield, a battle area that we highlighted up against your Fergusons and McCrorys. His comment in the preview episode kind of gained some attention on Lewis Ferguson flattering to deceive in these big games against Celtic. Do you think he flattered to deceive again today?
I don't know. He'd probably, if you're going to win against Celtic, you would need him to have sort of a huge game. I think, unfortunately for him, it was sort of a vintage Scott Brown performance that we've seen sort of over the years, which we've not really seen this season, in all honesty. It's very typical of our luck, where he's just protecting the back four, very, very assured, using his experience well. I suppose in a sense, I guess, for maybe it wasn't Ferguson's best game, but I think flattered to deceive maybe a bit harsh today.
I'm just quoting what Colin had said previously. I'm not saying that he did flatter to deceive today, because in my view it was just a very flat performance after going 1-0 down. But like I said, we will come to that. In the second half, fair to say that we probably created more opportunities than Celtic.
Yeah, definitely. And again, sort of set pieces, we were using that to our advantage, but it's just so typical of our luck that we didn't even take advantage of them. Celtic didn't create too much in the second half, especially sort of, I suppose that the game sort of went the way they liked it to have it. Sort of, everything got a bit less open at times, so they will have enjoyed that, and that probably plays into Scott Brown's hands massively, especially.
Yeah, and it's kind of quite damning that Ash Taylor proved to be one of our biggest attacking threats today with his long throws. Oh
yeah, they were unreal, by the way. I couldn't believe how far he was launching them. And that's something we should probably be taking advantage more of. And Lee Mayer did say in commentary as well, they should be getting sort of Constantine and Hoban up when that's sort of the case, I think. And I agree with that, in all honesty. If that's all we're sort of creating from against Celtic, then use that as our weapon. They're not great at defending balls into the box. Okay, they've got big Christopher Ayer in there, but even still, they look a bit suspect, and it's just unfortunate for us, I suppose. I guess.
Yeah, my only, as much as I enjoy them, it's just a grievance for me that we're taking up an attacking threat in terms of his aerial presence in the box out to take the long throw. But you're right there. We've then got to be targeting your Holbins, your Considines with that. Get the ball in their heads, and hopefully produce something as a result. But as Jonathan Main pointed out in reply to my tweet about Taylor, his crossfield pass in the first half, what a ball that was.
It was unreal. I think, Taylor had a decent game defensively as well, coming out from the back a few times and winning it. I suppose another thing that we maybe should have, the fact is that his throw-in is pretty good, but our crossing's so bad, so that's maybe why we should play on that as well, more than anything else. But I thought a good game for the Birkenhead Baresi. Unfortunately, to get the 3 points though, or even one, so it doesn't count for anything. We're all sad.
Yeah. Speaking then, we've not come away with anything. Do you feel we deserved something from the game today?
I don't think we could have been begrudged a point anyway.
Okay.
I don't think Celtic, again, they didn't really blow us away. They sort of went about their business, I suppose, did what they needed to do with the early goal. But I don't think we could have been begrudged a point. I don't think either team really maybe deserved to win. Really, don't think they did enough.
It's fair enough. You said before we started recording you were encouraged by our display. I've had a couple of messages. Keith again said, we've certainly looked a lot more threatening today. Emma Simpson saying it's nice to see us have a go at Celtic, but I don't know if I was watching a different game or it was just that it wasn't constant enough for me, but I didn't really feel we did do too much.
Somebody not paying attention, Glen?
Not at all, no. I just, for me, it was, other than the set pieces, was when we were creating opportunities. So from open play, yes, we were moving the ball forward, but we never really got in behind, never offered support to Canberra. It was just all so much what we're used to this season. It just breaks down in the final third. So for me, it was just as to be expected. But, when we went 1-0 down, it was like Fraser Walsh said, here we go again, losing to Celtic. But at the time, when we went 1-0 down, I was very much like, well, that was against the run of play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I can understand definitely where you come from, like not getting Canberra enough support and all that. I definitely agree with that. I think the fact that we just looked a bit more better defensively is maybe another reason why I'm feeling a bit better about it. And I suppose the fact we actually did threaten from set pieces, something that we've not even been that good at throughout the season as well. So that's at least something, I suppose. But to be fair, out with those set pieces, there was very, very little on offer.
Yeah, and for me, that's the biggest grievance for me. But I don't know if us looking very threatening from set pieces throughout today says much for us, or how bad Celtic have been all season at defending set pieces.
That's very true, because we've not looked threatening otherwise from set pieces, other than the Hendry goal, I suppose, recently. But
yeah. On Canberra, though, were you disappointed? I don't know if disappointed in his performance is right, because once again, it highlights, we looked at with Fraser Hornby, Sam Cosgrove prior to his departure, just no support for a lone striker this season. We just can't, when the ball's up to him, he was doing the hard work, but we couldn't get anybody around him quick enough.
I think especially the problem is when, if you're looking for support from out wide, then Hayes and McLennan, because there's wing backs, have got so much ground to cover to get up in support of him, possibly then leave us exposed at the back. And I suppose you've not got Hedges in there sort of playing in behind in support. I suppose that's probably what McGinn should have been doing, but no, it's just a bit of a meh performance from him. It is very, very frustrating seeing him just sort of so isolated, because he has looked decent in spells, and he's obviously, we saw at one stage he was like chasing the ball down. It was 2v1. I think he did get there and then lost out eventually in the 2v1. But it's typical, because even if he does manage to keep hold of the ball there, he's so far from goal. There's no support around him. What's he meant to do with it?
Yeah, I think that was the one where Laxalt kind of dived in. And he was lucky to win the ball, because if he doesn't, he's definitely going in the book for that challenge. But, Calum Hendry did come on just after the hour mark. And to be honest, you said, was I paying attention? Correct me if I'm wrong, but other than him 30 seconds after coming on flying into a challenge with Diego Laxalt, I really don't remember him doing anything.
I would agree with that. Also, probably the most Calum Hendry thing ever. He just comes on and throws himself in a challenge.
Yeah.
But to be fair, for that one, I think he didn't do anything wrong there. I think Laxalt's sold that very well to the officials. But yeah, it was probably the only thing he really did.
Yeah, I think I would be annoyed, we speak about if we were at the games and so on, but I think you'd be annoyed if your striker bottles that 50-50 there, or any player for that matter bottles that 50-50.
Agreed. It sort of did remind me of one where I can't remember if it was against Celtic or Rangers, where Cosgrove went in and then ended up getting sent off. I think that was against
Rangers at Ibrox.
Yeah, it was sort of similar to that, I suppose. Wasn't much in that either. Not that we're better about it or anything, but
no.
Yeah, it's good. I suppose it's good to see him willing to go in and press aggressively, I'd say. But yeah, unfortunately, that's about all he did.
Yeah, and for me, the quite telling thing was we didn't really have any impact off the bench today at all. The Dylan McGeoch sub was
mental, absolutely mental. I can't believe that happened. I thought, what would be the benefit of this substitution be so late on? At any stage, probably, when you're trying to go for a game, but so late on. I'm thinking, what is he doing? Is he thinking we're going to equalise and then we throw him on to cheer things up? What is going on? I don't understand that one whatsoever.
And the thing is, it's not like he was being brought on to put minutes into his legs, because it literally was 90 seconds he got.
Yeah. I was baffled, completely baffled.
Yeah, and the difference for me is our subs didn't do anything. Okay, Celtics didn't in terms of contributing to the game, but they had a freshness and a pace in your Elyounoussis and your Soros driving at our defence and pushing us back. Kennedy didn't do anything.
Came on, gave the ball away instantly, Matty Kennedy. I noticed that as well. Nightmare.
That I'm probably giving. I'm glad this is going out after McInnes's post-match interview, because that's just going to be a rare excuse for him. Although I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be so keen to throw players under the bus in that manner.
I hope he explains things, if anything, in the post-match interview.
Yeah, it probably explains that Celtic have got a bigger budget than us, so the defeat was to be expected.
Never. Oh, why would you use that excuse? I've not heard that one before.
No, well, we all know that you will. The deflection will definitely be mentioned in the post-match interview, and that was something unfortunate. It's just kind of, again, unfortunate that we couldn't take advantage on set pieces and create more throughout.
Yeah, there was another one cleared off the line, I suppose, by Klimala as well. But yeah, that is just so typical of our luck, and they are spawning luck against us as well, that deflection. And if he uses that as an excuse, I'll give him that one, but oh boy, the McGeoch substitution, so funny.
It's just so bewildering. I mean, he does have a good track record on making totally bewildering subs.
He just did it for the banter at that stage, to be honest. Just for a laugh.
But it's just, for McGinn, who, in the second half, the free kick was just about as bad as that substitution, but you've then whipped the ball in. But he also had one about maybe 10-15 minutes prior to that where a brilliant ball across the 6-yard box, nobody on the end of it.
No takers. Another one was when
we had and sorry, but we also had people in the box, but no one gambling. It just stood and admired. I don't know if they were just so surprised that he'd done another great delivery, but
it's not only that, but then it's also there was one where they get in the box really early and then just stand and wait, and there's no movement. I think it was McLennan's ball back and Dean Campbell dummied it, but they're all just standing already waiting in the box, and there's no one coming in on the edge. But
I don't know what Dean Campbell was thinking there. I don't know if that was one of the things where the Celtic player maybe shouts "leave it" and he thinks, all right, that's fine. But that one looked strange. It was almost like it was a training ground sort of move where he dummies it for someone running in from midfield to blast that well over the bar.
I suppose you probably would expect someone to be there, but the fact when he did it and then I looked and there was just no one within any sort of reasonable distance whatsoever.
Distance at all. No.
But, one of those days, I suppose.
One of those days. Yet more luck for Celtic, and yet no more luck for Aberdeen at Parkhead. Another game, so that's four 4 clean sheets and 107, is it? I even remember what I said last time. It was 106.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so that is our instant reaction to another disappointment at Parkhead.
You seem really down about it, Glenn.
To be honest, it was... We spoke about kind of off air, like, should this game be viewed as a free hit? As we did, before our last trip to Parkhead. But given what's gone on at Parkhead this week with the managerial change, their season in general, coming into this game off the back of a defeat, I don't know why, because I really shouldn't have. I just had a certain level of expectation for our performance today that we might actually have a go. And outside of the first 5 minutes and set pieces aside for me, I feel we didn't do as well as we could have today.
Yeah, to be fair, I was up for it. I was buzzing, but I don't know why, again. But I suppose credit has got to be given where credit's due for Celtic. So that's probably the exact kind of performance and result that they would have been looking for, given like the turmoil they've been in. Just Aberdeen, pretty tough game, get in and out, 3 points in any way, and they sort of did that and controlled it, I suppose, to an extent.
Yeah, definitely. John Kennedy will be delighted with that. But we're back to the drawing board, and we'll be back at the end of the week with our preview for our next match Tuesday night. Steve Tosh interview coming out, a very open and honest interview.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll all enjoy. So if you want to make sure you get notified of its release, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're closing in on that infamous 300, Calum.
It's going to happen. It's quicker than I thought as well. So thank you for the support. No thank you for making me do a watch along.
It's what the people want. And just make sure if you've liked the video, like it, leave us a comment. We're really enjoying hearing all the feedback over on YouTube, or tweet us at RTG_podcast. It's been really helpful over the last few weeks. Obviously, the disaster that was the last Celtic reaction video. We've built on that from feedback that's been given to us, and even on our preview shows with having opposition fans on as well. There's been some positive feedback around that. So we openly admit we're still learning. We're not perfect. So any help that we can get, or any feedback you want to give us to improve, send it our way.
100%. And on that note, thank you very much, Glenn, and thank you for everyone tuning in.